It's Thursday, 10 o'clock. I'm just leaving Starbucks here in Cambridge to go to the leasing company to sign the paperwork. And I spent got to update my kettlebell thing, feel really good. And then went to my Mac dealer and I said, who do you guys know that can install a PTO wet line, like with short notice on a truck? Because I found a couple of shops in New York and Pennsylvania states, on the other side of the border. And then it just occurred to me, wait a second, maybe there's somebody here can do it quickly. And one good thing for me as a Canadian is that I get back, HST. Of course, here in Canada, everything is usually more expensive. The rates, labor rates are higher. So you don't win much. Let's say if it's $3,000 over there, it's probably 5,000 here Canadian, and then you get like 13% back I can claim, right? And so I started Googling and searching, and I talked to the Mac guy, and he says, well, try these guys, and nobody can do it like, fast enough. I found one shop maybe, like 10 minutes away. They say, yeah, we do it. We do PTO, we do wet line on trucks. I said, when can you put the truck in the shop? Oh, we have to order parts. It won't probably happen until the middle of next week. And then I talked to the guy in New York, which is kind of like a funny story too, because one of the viewers works for a Mac dealer. Thank you, Gary, in New York. And when I asked him about this situation, he recommended a shop 2 hours east of Buffalo in New York that they do this kind of thing. Like, it's a diesel shop. They do truck service, PTO installations. And we were exchanging emails, and I talked to them this morning, and I said I want to leave like Saturday, like ideally today's Thursday, right? If I could just get to your shop, so 2 hours east of the border, so that's like 3 hours of driving for me, but time is important. I want to get it done. Because in a small town, like these guys are in a small town, so they're more flexible, but they're not as busy as some other places. But they said, yeah, they are busy. They cannot do it like today or tomorrow, of course. But they said, we can do it Monday. If you're here Monday morning, by the end of Monday, you will have a working, operational, full service, 100% compliant wet line PTO with a tank. And they said, send us your transmission model number. I found that on my spec sheet, and then I called Fontaine because usually they have this PSI requirement, like flow, how much PSI the hydraulic system should create. And the guy I called the customer service, and the guy says 2,500 PSI, and the tank, the hydraulic oil tank, only has to be 6 to 10 gallons. And that's what I remember on my Kaufman trailer. It was a very small tank. It was like square, but it looked like 10 gallons maximum. And in an ironic twist of fate, just as I'm leaving, pretty much I'm getting ready to leave Starbucks, so I arranged the PTO installation, right? I talked to the financial company, I talked to the dealer, Canadian dealer that buys the trailer, and he asked me for a copy of the ownership of the plate from the previous trailer, so it looks like I'll be able to reuse the plate, because I have it in my truck, like the previous plate from the trailer, the Ontario plate, because it has my name and the leasing company name on the ownership, on that plate ownership. So my name on the plate portion, the leasing company name on the ownership portion. But I'm doing the deal through the same company, right? So nothing changes. All he has to do is just basically update the VIN number, what vehicle this plate is attached to. So he doesn't have even to go to to Ministry of Transportation here, like your DOT in the States, right? I guess he can do it all by the email. So I sent him that, and now I'm just going to sign the lease, and I guess somehow the leasing company will get the money to the dealer, and the dealer says the trailer is on hold. So I don't know, but they say I can leave Friday, but now I don't have to because Monday I have to be in New York. So it's gonna be a leisurely weekend. I'll probably go to Niagara Falls, do some shooting over there with my camera, but just driving my transport truck. But yeah, so in a twist of fate, or irony rather, Kaufman finally came up with a quote. Took him like 2 weeks, and I'm driving to the leasing company to sign papers on a different trailer. Yeah, and of course, just as I expected, the price is what, like 25% lower, but it's not a modular trailer. Like, it doesn't have, and what I mean by modular is that I won't be able to grow with this trailer. I won't be able to use an extension box like a flick box on the gooseneck the way I can do it with this trailer, the one I want to get. And Kaufman, I told him not to put 4th axle prep to keep the weight down. So this one is just a 3 axle, even though it has a 60-inch axle spacing. And if you remember, I had a problem with the first trailer, but they say it was defective steel. So I don't know. Like, this one is all ready to go. The paperwork is all there for me to sign. As soon as I sign it, that's it. Oh yeah, and I told them last minute change to Kaufman. I said, don't put the Honda in because I'm gonna get the white line, so I have to do white line anyway. And just one last question I sent to them before I left Starbucks. I said, okay, so what's the build time? Let's say now I'm going to the financial company. Let's say if I decide to change everything in the last moment and tell them, hey, I want to go with Kaufman. So we send him the deposit, and I ask him, what's the build time? I'm like, what is it? Like, he told me 6 weeks, 8 weeks last time. But now it's already August 4th. You know, I'd rather get a trailer, you know, sooner. Sooner is better than later, right? Okay. Driving, and I have not heard from Kaufman about the build time. Okay, so heading to my leasing office. We'll see, but it's gonna be a very close, time-wise, close decision. But I need the trailer now. I cannot wait 2 months for the new trailer. Well, I'm out of the office. Just signed my life away. Oh boy. The payments, of course, are higher now than they used to be. And that's why I need the support of my YouTube channel. And I can tell you now the make and model, because yeah, it's not going to be Kaufman. I'm sorry. I cannot wait 8 weeks. And somebody was confused on my channel. Some people were leaving comments because they were not sure why I got rid of one Kaufman and I'm getting another Kaufman. Well, the thing with the previous trailer, it was too tall. I mean, not too tall, but it was like 24 inches loaded, and then I can go to 22 inches to the lower position, right? But then the front of the trailer at the bottom where the ramp is was like this much, like maybe 2 inches off the ground. So it was okay driving on the highway, but getting out of truck stops, you know, and going through like pumps, you know, I was catching ground all the time. And basically a lot of equipment is very tall now. I need to be under 14 feet with like, if I could stay with under 14 feet with the tall equipment, that just means more money, because until now, you know, I wasn't able to hold these big machines, not just because of the weight, but because you want to be, just like my boss said, he says you want to be ideally somewhere around 18 to 20 inches off the ground fully loaded. So 18 is ideal, but 20 would work, like fully loaded, you know, in a travel position. All right, I was 24, and that's, believe it or not, is a huge deal. Like even 1 inch is big deal. So 24 inches, that's just basically a difference between me getting a load or not getting a load, because you cannot lie about your height. When you load a machine, you measure it and you try to get a permit and you cannot get it, or they will send you on all these crazy detours, So that was number one. I was running more and more into situations where I was too tall. And secondly, because of that, the whole shape of the trailer also came into my attention, so to speak, because the front was just too steep, like the way the trailer was designed. And if you saw videos where I was loading all these excavators, like you could see, especially excavators, how when they pause on the top of the ramps and they just hang in the balance where the front of the tracks does not touch the deck and the rear is already off the ground. So all that weight is sitting on just maybe 1 inch on the ramps, and that's why all those ramps were kind of like being destroyed with every load, because this hump was just too big. And that's number one, was I wanted a trailer which was the overall loaded height was lower, but also I wanted the front to be kind of like smoother, more shallow with a better approach. And that's when, of course, I did that video about the lowboy trailers I saw at Kaufman with a new design where they dropped the height by 2 inches and the front was lower, right? And so that seemed like a winner. And also I wanted this, so reducing the height was critical. And also I wanted to be able to haul heavier loads. So I wanted to increase the spacing on the axles from 54, which I had on the previous trailer, to 60, and that gives you extra weight in Ontario, for example, when you do like local original hauls, And number three, which I didn't see as a problem, but the company where I'm leased to, they were complaining about this, saying that my trailer was too heavy. And when they mean too heavy is that I was losing some legal loads, like when I get, like, let's say a step deck load where the empty weight is important and they don't want to get a permit. And so I wanted to reduce the weight. Yeah, sorry, I hit pause because the guy who pulled next to me in a Denali GM truck is the owner of the leasing company. A very nice guy. We did lots of deals with him, like on my previous trailers and my truck, and like I said, I always find it makes things so much easier when you deal with people that It's kind of like a handshake kind of a deal, you call, okay, are you okay with this? Yeah, all right, so how are we gonna do this? Okay, how much down payment? Boom, boom, boom. Now I sign everything and that's it. So now I just need they're gonna talk to the dealer, right? So the plate is transferred, I hope now, and the dealer just needs some kind of a proof of the payment. It's like very complicated, like the trailer is in the States, right? I'm buying it through a Canadian dealer who was recommended to be by my Canadian financial company. So financial company pays to the Canadian dealer, and I got a lease with the financial company where I'm paying so much money every month, and then after 5 years it's my trailer for $1. So it's pretty much like financing, the same thing, except that I cannot write off depreciation because it's their vehicle. They will be writing off depreciation against taxes. And so the financial company pays money to the Canadian dealer. The Canadian dealer pays money to the US dealer who's holding this trailer. And yeah, sorry, I got distracted. And so yeah, that were the main three things why I needed to change the trailer: the height, the angle of approach, the axle spacings, and then last but not least, the overall weight, which I was not too concerned about. But you do get sometimes like very nice loads, just regular flatbed or step deck loads that pay a lot of money, and it helps to be light, because if you're heavy, then the company I'm leased to, they have to order permits, like oversized permits, because I'll be like over 80,000 pounds. Even if you're like 1,000 over, you cannot do it without permits, and that means that the permits come off the top of whatever the freight pays, and so of course that means less money for the company. So, and that's why I'm sitting, and they are sending a guy with a step deck trailer, which is of course much lighter, so no permits required, right? And actually one more thing was, what was the other thing? So the height, the angle of approach, yeah, D-rings. Like D-rings for me, it's always a hassle when I had to put those edge protectors under them. It's so inconvenient to have D-rings in the middle of the sides. I mentioned this many times before. And actually new Kaufman trailers, they have them at the top, the way they should be, right? But this trailer, and like 99% of other little boys and floats, they all have D-rings at the proper position at the top where your chains don't touch the deck. And so, without further ado, I'm getting a 2017 2017 Fontaine magnitude 55-ton trailer, 3-axle 60-inch axle spacing, black, and the gooseneck is set up for the extension box, but no extension box at this time, but it's just set up. I can buy it later. And the rear is set up, the rear of the trailer is set up for a 4th flip axle or single axle booster. And that's perfect because that's when I was talking about weight, that I want to be able to hold more weight, and that's what you need. You need this booster or a Jeep. So for example, now I can keep this trailer, this new Fontaine, even if I when I get a new truck, the trailer is perfect because it allows me, it gives me a room to grow. Like if I were to get Kaufman, it just doesn't, they don't allow boosters, like they don't do that flip box connection, and I don't know, I just decided to go with a famous brand. Yeah, I know it's more money, but the resale value is much better. Like if you remember, I mentioned this before, I really, like people, well, at least one guy was laughing at me, right, over the phone when I said I want to do a trade-in with a Kaufman for his Rogers trailer, and the guy just basically said it outright that he wouldn't take a Kaufman except for parts. He would never take it as a trade-in. So basically he saw zero value in that trailer, and that kind of hurts both morally and financially. So I'm pretty sure that when it's time to sell this Fontaine trailer, there'll be like a line of people willing to get this trailer, So yeah, it's expensive, but like I mentioned, it's so yeah, next because I'm Canadian, I want to go sometimes if the load pays good money. I want to go to Western Canada, and Western Canada does not recognize pusher axles, and that's what I have now on my truck. So I can do a load, I can go to Western Canada now. The only thing is they will look at me as a 3-axle truck and 3-axle trailer, right? So and adding a Jeep, I would be too heavy. So basically for Western Canada, you need a 3-axle truck, and you need a single or dual axle Jeep, and then you need a trailer. And if you want to hold something really heavy, you want a booster in the back, right? But so that's the plan. So for the future, so this is an ideal trailer for me to grow my business, even though I know I said I want just 7 axles, but loads get heavier. If there's an opportunity to make some extra money, then why not? And of course, yeah, that's just particulars, the lower weight, bigger axle spacings, connectivity for the Jeep and the booster. But the bottom line is I wanted a trailer where I can make more money, and this Fontaine magnitude 55-ton seems to be the solution for me at this point in time. And so I already set up an appointment. I'm gonna be leaving, I don't have to leave right now because the shop where I'll be doing wetline installation, they cannot do it before Monday. So Monday morning I'll be in New York, 2 hours east of the border, and it'll take them whole day. Not sure how much it will cost, somewhere just probably like $3,500 US. But you pay it once, and let's say then you have a wet line, And because I use it very rarely, right? So I only need it for like 5 minutes to disconnect, 5 minutes to reconnect. It's gonna last at least 5 years before I see any serious, you know, leaks or whatever. It's not like I'm like a backhoe or an excavator or even a dump truck where the system has to work a lot of hours each day, right? So this is a very easy load on the hydraulic system. And I talked to Fontaine, yeah, they said 2500 psi, 6 to 10 gallon tank. That's all you need to operate this 55-ton trailer. So that's the plan. Really great news. Sorry, Kaufman. Hello, Fontaine.